Hi, my name's Dafoe, and I'm here to give you an Austin City Council preview for the date of November 10, 2011. This Thursday, Austin City Council will be considering multiple items. This week, they're not going to be as explosive or as sexy as some of the items in the past, but I hope you'll join me this Thursday at Austin City Council to oppose some of these measures that will further grow the government at the expense of, well, you and me. It's about to rain, so I'll try to keep my comments here brief as some clouds roll in. Austin Energy, number 2, approve an ordinance authorizing acceptance of $600,000 in American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funds, grant funds from the U.S. Department of Energy through the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. This is to appropriate $600,000 for weatherization of homes for low-income, elderly, and disabled customers within Austin Energy's service area. Now, it's a very noble thing to do to say, yes, we need to weatherize these people's homes that are maybe low-income or elderly and can't do it on their own. But the problem with government endorsing this sort of do-gooderism is that all too often these projects are used to benefit certain groups or certain classes of citizens. Now, I, as someone that believes in individual freedom and responsibility, that all individuals should be treated the same and fairly by government. This does not do that. While we do want to help out the elderly and the low income, that's what charity's for. That's what our community's for. It's not for the government, you know, to play the role of Robin Hood. So it's wrong. Please help me oppose item 2. Item 5, authorize execution of a construction contract with Austin Filter Systems, Inc. for the Walnut Creek Outfall Bank Erosion Phase 2 project. The amount of $1.26 million. This is again another attempt to turn some of our beloved creeks here into Austin into more of sewage systems than what they're really meant to be, which is wild running creeks. This is a very dangerous project. It looks to me to be very similar to what they're doing with Shoal Creek, which I've repeatedly spoken out against at Austin City Council. So come to council, oppose number 5. Now moving on to economic growth and redevelopment services. Items 10 through 13 deal with setting a tax assessment rate and approving a proposed 2012 assessment rule for the Austin Downtown Public Improvement District. Now, for those of you that don't know, the PID, the Public Improvement District, was formed, I believe, in 1993 as a way for Austin to have some sort of control or say into what happens downtown, how those tax dollars are spent and what they're spent for. Unfortunately, the PID is now being controlled by the monopolistic Downtown Austin Alliance, which has heavily impacted such political decisions such as passing of the Downtown Austin Plan. And we're seeing special interest groups like this Downtown Austin Alliance come in and manage the whole deal. And it's a real scandal. And what they're using this money on, which is over $2 million, which it's not spelled out in the description, you have to look in the backup to find that out, is totally mismanaged. And we do not need Downtown Austin Alliance being the ones managing this when they've repeatedly shown they're not a group that includes all the community. So let's give it back to the citizens, get the corporate interests out of government, including the Downtown Austin Alliance. Police 26 is an item to purchase $221,000 in bulletproof vests. Now, our police are some of the finest police in the country at APD. We want them to be protected in dangerous situations. We want them to be able to perform their job with everything they need. My concern is that this could always be bought cheaper or done in a more efficient way. The problem is these are grant funds we're receiving from the U.S. Department of Justice, as well as the Bulletproof Vest Partnership. Again, we need to be self-sufficient as a community into Austin. Our federal government's going bankrupt, for those of you that haven't been paying attention the last 4 or 5 years. That's happening right now. We need to say no to these federal grants. 35, Purchasing Office. This is a contract with Law Enforcement Targets Incorporated, Blaine, Minnesota, a town I've actually visited, to provide police targets and target backers in an estimated amount not to exceed $66,000 with 3 12-month extension options for a total contract not to exceed $142,570. Now the problem with all these granted extensions built in the contract is we don't know if we can get a better deal. Now I'm sure Law Enforcement Targets in Blaine, Minnesota is a fine company, but maybe we could be had it cheaper, or at least get this these devices, this technology from a company in Texas would be a good idea if available and if at a reasonable rate. So we need to look at that. I will oppose item 35. 39, authorize execution of a contract through the Cooperative Purchasing Network with Kellogg, Brown, and Root Incorporated. Company Dick Cheney was a former executive with, also known lovingly as KBR, for the installation of solar photovoltaic system at City of Austin's George Washington Carver Museum and Library, not to exceed $346,410. Now this is a bid to up the amount of money that the city spends on renewable energy to meet the Austin Energy Generation Plan by the year 2021. It's also a way for the council to say, look, we're green, we're adding a token solar energy source at George Washington Carver Museum. My big beef with item 39 lies in the fact that we will be awarding a contract to Kellogg, Brown, and Root Incorporated. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kellogg, Brown, and Root, KBR, is one of the biggest war contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan. They have perpetuated the war on terror. They've used their technology to kill innocent women and children in Iraq, Afghanistan, and in other countries. And Kellogg, Brown, and Root is not the company we need to be doing business with. We can find someone else who has the same technology, just as good, if not better. So let's say no to war profiteers, Kellogg, Brown, and Root on item 39. Item 40 deals with adding $300,000 to a contract with Asplund Tree Expert Company, Corpus Christi, Texas, for utility line clearance for Austin Energy. Yeah, we need to make sure the lines are clear with our utilities. But nearly $7.8 million on this. I have my questions. I hope you do too. Come and speak on item 40 at Austin City Council. There's not a whole lot left for me to tell you. I encourage you all to go check out the agenda. And let's see, there's one or two more things here I wanted to mention. Two things on zoning. Number 86, they're trying to change the Austin City Code by rezoning a property in East Austin from neighborhood to commercial mixed-use neighborhood. Same thing's happening on item 91 near the state facilities up at 45th and Lamar and Sunshine Boulevard, I believe. This zoning is a way to bring in more corporate development. We need to say no. Also, real quickly, before it starts to rain here, I want to tell you that City Council met on November 1st in a work session, and they spent one whole hour, more than any other agenda item in that work session, discussing the passing of new rules to further limit citizens in participating on agenda items at Austin City Council. This is dangerous. This is an initiative pushed by Mayor Lee Leffingwell. Mike Martinez, when I met with him, told me he would not support any rule changes. He did not think it's fair. That's a respectable position. However, we've seen Cheryl Cole and Laura Morrison have now entered into negotiations with Mayor Lee Leffingwell to further restrict citizens from participating. I think it's dangerous. I think it's an antithesis to democracy, and we need to say no on this when it comes before council, most likely in December or January. They're still discussing things, still working out the kinks, but that's right. Lee Leffingwell, Cheryl Cole, Laura Morrison, as well as some of the others, have entertained this idea of limiting citizens, and we need to tell them no now. So please join me. The date will be November 10, 2011 at Austin City Council. Thanks so much for listening.